welcome. I'm Kat Millar, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways to instantly get more eyes on your posts. There are 3 main things that make your social media posts instantly more attention grabbing that often people don't realize. So if you'd like to create more compelling posts that really capture people's attention and stop them from scrolling. You know how fast people scroll on these days, like you are literally a flick away, right? So if you want to be able to stop people from scrolling and grab their attention, because until we have their attention, they won't give us their time, which is actually what we need in order to engage our potential clients. So if you want to stop them scrolling and have them reading on to what you've spent all this time crafting and beautifully, putting together this beautiful post that takes you ages, and to have someone to actually stop and read it and absorb it, and not only just read it and go, that's nice, next, but actually go, wow, that has changed me, that has moved me, that has given me a little nugget, or has inspired me, or it has challenged me. If you want to do this, I'm sharing exactly how to do it. I'm going to be sharing 3 things that you can do in your posts, and these are 3 of 9 things that I actually share in my full content, but tonight I'm just going to give you 3 of the most important ones. So this can apply whether you're doing a Facebook post, an Instagram post, or a LinkedIn post, or elsewhere. It's also principles that you can use for any type of content creation, so emails, blog posts, videos, etc. They all if you have these 3 things in your content, then they grabbed people's attention and hook them in and give them your time, which is what we want. We want more time with people. All right, so let's get cracking. The first one is curiosity. Number 1 is curiosity. Curiosity is that thing that hooks people. It's the thing that gets people to open your emails and to stop the scroll. It's the reason that the news, for example, they always say, okay, after the break, a woman got stabbed and she was on the roof of a car, and we'll tell you why after the break. And it builds curiosity and it makes you stay if you're that way inclined. Or it's that thing on Facebook where you're like, I have to post, I have to reply to that because it's opened a loop in my brain. Our brain is designed to close a loop. So if someone opens a loop, they start saying something and they get distracted, they've opened a loop in your brain, and you're like, they need to finish that. Something's unfinished in my brain. And a lot of people have so much blood glucose that they're churning around in their brain because they've got so many open loops. Because someone has started a conversation with them and left, or you've started doing something on your to-do list and been interrupted. Give me a guess if you know what I'm talking about. And you've got all these open, we call them open loops, and basically your brain hangs on to them until the loop is closed. There's some really cool research that someone did on waiters, and the waiters were given their orders, and they would remember the order until the person actually paid. So these waiters, as soon as the person had paid, it closed the loop and they stopped remembering the order. So something in their brain kept that open. It was like, oh, I need to remember that information until the person's actually paid, and now I can delete that information and free up more space in my brain to be able to go to the next person, remember their order. They can't have thousands of orders open in their mind, so the loop stays open until the person's paid, and then it's closed. So there's some really cool piece of research that was done on this, a study that was done. And so this concept of opening a loop in someone's mind, where you ask a question, they're like, what, wait, what, and then they keep going. So your first line of your social media post is designed to hook someone in. It's like a fishing rod. We hook them, and then we've got to keep them on the rod. So if you think, there's probably a way nicer analogy that we could use than that, but essentially maybe it's a net. We fish them in, and we've got to hold on to them before they run away. Let me know if you've got an even better analogy. You probably have one that's a little bit less violent. But imagine that we're hooking them in through either a bold question or a bold statement. So that curiosity piece is either a bold statement where someone is like, what do you mean? Like, what? Hang on, wait. And they've got to read the second line. And then the second line gets them to read the third line, and so on. So a subject line of an email, for example, is the most important thing, because we've got to hook them in with some curiosity, and then they'll actually come behind the door, so to speak, and keep reading. So that's number one, is a curiosity. How do we actually do it? A bold statement or a bold question. Whenever you use the word you, it hooks someone in. So if you're speaking your exact ideal client's language, this is going to hook them in. A curiosity piece can also be really powerful if you add visual descriptive language. Visual descriptive language. So to do this, we've got to be super clear on our clients' dreams and desires. So dreams is future, desires is present, so current, dreams, desires, and also fears and frustrations. Dreams, desires, fears, and frustrations. If you haven't done this already, I recommend you create a quadrant. Dreams, desires, fears, and frustrations. What's the difference? Dreams is future, desires is current. Fears is future. We don't fear current. We always fear something happening in the future, even if it's 1 second later, like a spider jumping on us. Like the fear is always projecting us into the future. That's why we experience the anxiety. So what is your ideal client? What are their fears? And what are their current frustrations? Their current pain. So a quadrant is really helpful. We've got to know those 4 things so that we can actually build the curiosity. People only stop scrolling if they relate to what you're saying. Like if you, I mean, you could have a bold statement like, the Queen just ate a spider. That's a bold statement, but it's not relevant to the person. So the thing that draws people in and gets their attention is when you speak in their language, you use the word you, and you tap into the dreams, desires, fears, frustrations. So you might say something like, do you ever feel XYZ? Do you ever feel? So that's a question, right? A bold question. Then you might do a bold statement like, the one thing that I use to XYZ. So they're like, what's the one thing, right? Or the 3 essential keys to blah blah. The person has that curiosity. I need to learn what those things are. Or you might say, fed up with blah blah, and they're like, yes, because we want them to be thinking yes, yes. Do you want this? Would you like this? And they're going yes, yes, yes. So curiosity, we always want them saying yes, and it's a bold statement or a bold question. All right, number 2 is contrast. So the first one, number 1 is curiosity. Number 2 is contrast. So contrast is all about the 2 different worlds. So if you think about it this way, all of us have 2 different worlds that exist, our current reality and our future reality. And the gap between the 2, if you imagine a bridge, that's the contrast. So it's like they're in a certain world, you're in a certain world, you want them to come over to your world. So you've got to really make it clear in the contrast between your 2 worlds. So for example, we all have a health bridge. Where we are in our health right now, our health, our fitness, our body, and then where we want to be. We all have a financial bridge. Like if you think of it like a bridge, the contrast is the 2 worlds, and the bridge is the piece of content that we're creating to bridge the 2 worlds. We all have where we are currently financially and where we want to be. We have it with relationships. We have it in every area of our life. So if you're someone who helps people manage their money, for example, you've got to talk about their current reality, and you want to use visual verbs. So visual language that's very specific, very descriptive. Something like, do you open up your banking app, whoops, and your heart sinks because it's missing a couple of zeros at the end that you really need to be able to pay your rent. So you're talking about their existing world, right? You're building that picture of their current desire, their current frustration. And then you start talking about, would you love to open your bank account and know that everything's sorted and organized, to lift that burden off your shoulders? So here we're starting to add some kinesthetic language and the feeling, so that you can relax, drop your shoulders, and know that everything's taken care of when you open your bank account. So we're building out some feeling language, some emotion. We're painting a visual picture between the contrast. So the contrast is really highlighting the gap between where they are and where they want to be. And if you want to engage people and hook them in, you want to be really clear on those two worlds that you've got there. I just dropped my mouth. 1 second. Okay, so the next one is, I'll just give you an example on that. Sorry, my mouse has just stopped working. All right. So an example of highlighting the gap. So I'll give you an example of this training, this video that you're watching right now. So right now I'm training on 3 ways to instantly get more eyes on your posts. That's what you're learning, but you still need to know what to actually say in your posts, what kind of call to action to do, how to create a call to action landing page, how to set up an automated booking system if you want to book clients in online, what kind of sales process to go through to make sure you actually get a high conversion on your conversation. So what I'm doing now is I'm highlighting the gap. Yes, I'm teaching you this cool stuff, but there's a gap. There's all this other stuff you need to learn. And so I'm actually doing it. You're seeing it in action. I just did it. I just highlighted the gap. I just gave contrast. Okay, cool. I'm giving you some cool tips to put in your social media posts. But obviously there's only so much I can share in the time that we've got here in this training. So I'm also showing you there's all these other things that you need to know if you want to attract clients and actually have paid clients. So that's just a really clear example on how you can actually highlight that gap. All right, number 3. So we've got number 1, curiosity. Number 2, contrast. Number 3, credibility plus connection, balance. Credibility plus connection, balance. So you can put a piece of credibility in, you can put a piece of connection in, or you can do both. So what I mean by credibility, this is talking about your experience, your skills, your knowledge. It's basically evidence that someone can trust you. So when you add credibility into your post, so when you talk about how many years you've been in business, how many years you've been helping these types of people, how many years you've been researching and studying and diving deep into this topic, how many people you've worked with, numbers and dates are really powerful. So you'll see if you read through my Instagram posts, and by the way, if you want some examples of what I'm talking about, just have a look at my posts, like for example on Facebook or on my Facebook business page, or in this group, or on Instagram. I'll just pop the handle in there. You'll see this played out. So in all my posts, I pretty much talk about, I'll give a connection piece, which is a real vulnerability, relatedness, humanness piece, where you're just showing that you're real, that you get it, that you're not perfect. I'll either do a connection piece or a credibility piece, or I'll do both. And that's why I've called this third key credibility plus connection, balance, because we want them in balance. If you just talk about how great you are, you're going to put people off, right? If you're, I'm so great, I've been in business all this time, I've helped all these people, I'm so amazing, and you don't match it with connection, which is that humanness, that realness. Hey, I wasn't always like this. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to not have clients. I know what it's like to feel like an imposter in business. These are all things that I've put in my posts because they're true. When you've got that really nice balance of credibility and connection, then people relate to you. They can see that you know your stuff. They can see that you are skilled, knowledgeable, have experience, know what you're talking about, but that you also are not bragging on yourself. You're not like putting yourself up on a pedestal. I always say put your program on a pedestal, not yourself. Put your system, elevate your system. The thing that you've created, your signature system that you've created that gets people results, put that on a pedestal, because you've taken all this learning from all these other people, you've absorbed like a sponge, and you've squeezed it out into this signature system that you now take people through, which is a process that you take people through from where they are to where they want to be. This is the bridging of the gap, right? There's a great book called Compelling People, and I love this book because it talks about this concept of strength and warmth. And it talks about all compelling people who give great speeches and people love. Barack Obama was an example. You know, obviously not everyone loves him, but he's strong and direct, but also brilliant at speeches, and he's got a way of relating to people. So they gave this example. They did a whole lot of study research on thousands of people that are influential and successful, and they found that they had this beautiful balance between being strong and direct and firm and action taking and go go go, and also being warm. And the warmth is the compassion, the kindness. So if we're too warm, if we go too far, we border on being fluffy, not being taken seriously, being too, oh, you know, whatever you think is fine. If we go too far on the strength side, we get too authoritative, too direct, too blunt, and we put people off if we're too far on the ends of those spectrums. So right in the middle, when you've got a beautiful balance of strength and warmth together, you've got that sweet spot, is the credibility and the connection piece. So think through, how can you show your authority, your expertise, but also balance it out with some vulnerability, some realness. So something that I often share is how I've never loved the limelight. I share about how I felt like an imposter, and I felt like I was pretending to have a business. Like I should be further along the journey by now. I should have more clients. And when we come with this realness of what life's really like, that it's not perfect, people instantly get that connection with us. So we've got the credibility plus the connection. Curiosity, contrast, credibility plus connection. Those are three things that if you put those in your posts, you're going to instantly grab people's attention and get them actually reading the post. Remember that people want to hear about them, not about you. So you've got to insert the word you as much as possible, or they, you know, talking about your clients, talking about people that you've worked with, and try and remove the word I as much as you can, unless you're telling a story which directly helps that person. So with the contrast piece, like how I mentioned before, this is three things that I share to make a post more attention grabbing. This is 3 out of 9 things that I share on how to create compelling content that engages and connects with your ideal clients. I'm going to be sharing the other 6 methods, which are based on psychology principles, at my upcoming free online masterclass called the Client Attraction Accelerator. So it's happening on Tuesday, the 15th of December at 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. And this is for you if you're a coach or consultant or any type of practitioner, service-based business owner, or you're wanting to move into that space. You're an author, a speaker, any kind of expert. If you've got a message that you want to take out to the world in a bigger way, if you know you've got the potential to help a lot more people and make a lot more money, you feel that gap between where you are and where you want to be, you know that you've got more in you to actually really help people and to earn a bigger income. And if you want some really clear guidance and inspiration and direction from an expert, someone that's been in business, I've been in business 17 years, I've worked with thousands of clients, I've done thousands and thousands of hours of coaching, and 4,000 plus hours of coaching. And what I've really learned in that time are the things that hold people back and the things that successful entrepreneurs do, so that you can not have those feast and famine months where you get some money come in, but then you go back to stressing again, and you're just doing this roller coaster. We've got nice, consistent income, and you've got marketing that really works. So the techniques that you'll discover at this event will show you how to create a marketing plan that works at the moment. You know, marketing is shifting all the time, and what was working a few months back isn't always working now, right? We've got to keep updating our knowledge and our skills. So in the event, you'll discover how to get 7 clients in 7 days with a step-by-step process that I teach. And this is not using any pushy or sleazy techniques. This is genuine, authentic connection with the right people. I'm going to be sharing the little known content creation techniques that can really transform your business in 2021. And it's based on these psychology-based neuromarketing hacks, which is speaking to your clients' dreams, desires, fears, and frustrations, how to actually craft your posts. I'm going to show you a simple tool that shows you instantly whether you're niched enough, and if you're not, what to do to fix it. We're also going to be mapping out your ideal client's journey. So I can help you map it out and give you some feedback on it so that you can get people's attention and connect with people authentically. So if you are sick of sitting behind your laptop, like struggling, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to post, and not knowing how to get clients, you have the capability, you have you have everything you need inside you. You just need the guidance, and you need a structure and a step-by-step plan on how to do it. I'm also giving a bonus gift for people who come and attend the event live. So it's valued at $97. It's a social media success kit that I'm giving away for free. So if you want to join me on the masterclass, I'll just post the link in the chat box now and you can check it out. And again, just to recap, the 3 ways to instantly get more eyes on your posts. Number 1 is curiosity. Number 2 is contrast. And number 3 is the credibility plus connection balance. I would love you to join me on Tuesday, the 15th of December, for a full training where I really dive deep into these strategies. So if you haven't registered, click on the link here. It's bit.ly/client-attraction-accelerator. And I look forward to seeing you there. Bye, my friends.